Come on, Eileen. We're all joining the rain. Sunset upon the radio with a million hearts in my know. Our mothers crying. Sang along Brooklyn now. You know, so good I'm so proud. So good I'm proud. I must see more than ever. Come on, Eileen. To ride, oh, we can sing just like a mother.
Day before. Thank you for the super chat. Well, there we go. That was, hell, that was Come On Eileen, which I fucking loved. Hang on a sec. I fucking love that song. And I'm in, high school. And, God damn it. I'm in high school, and this guy, who I don't talk to anymore because we were pals, and he ended up getting super fucking conservative and mad at me when I was making fun of Donald Trump, and he stopped, you know, following me and shit. Anyway, he, back in high school, he says to me, "Come on, Eileen." And he's like, "Eh?" I'm like, "I don't understand." He's like, "You know, Come On, Eileen." Yeah, the song, it's awesome. No. He's like, ejaculate on and I'm like, oh, I understand now. It took me, I was a very innocent junior high kid. It took me a while to warm up. Now listen, there was a girl, and I wasn't hanging out with her long enough to call her anything other than just somebody I went out with a couple times in 8th, 9th grade. But she was cute as a button, and I don't know where I'm going. I'm just thinking about junior high now. There were two girls. There was one girl, I'll give you her initial because she might watch the show. T, And the other girl's name was Marilyn. And I liked them both something fierce. And I always thought that Marilyn would be a great girl to have an affair with. But T would be the right kind of lady to marry. And it's pathetic and sad and gross that I was thinking about these things. But I was. Tiffany was pretty hot. Input funny. Yeah, she was. I like Debbie Gibson more back in the day, though. That's true. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gabbin Games. We're off to the races pretty goddamn quick. We got Follow Me Records with his very first super chat, which I appreciate, buddy. He says, are you waiting for the day before? I don't know what that means. I appreciate your ducats. I appreciate your money. Hopefully you don't have to spend it again to explain it to me. But I don't know what you mean when you ask me if I'm ready, waiting for the day before. So I don't know what that means. This episode is a not heavy chat episode. There's a lot of news to talk about, a lot of analysis, debate, and discuss in my own head. But if you want to super chat me, I'll get you into the show. And more importantly, if you want to call me for free on the Discord, you can do that. And then later on, I might even open up the red phone. So if you want to call in, but you don't want to use the Discord, you want to use your phone, you can do that as well, okay? I'm 51 years old, says Jojo D, and it is no different than being 50, right, Jaffe? Absolutely. Well, I'm 51 now. I turned 51 today. And it, you know, my daughter, she was like, she was saying to me, oh, it's your birthday. How do you feel? How's it feel to be 51? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I think there comes some age where you just sort of go, it's not exciting. It's not unexciting. I'm excited because tonight, we're going to sit around, order food, and we're going to watch The Good Doctor. And the joke is, for me, when I was a kid and my parents said, what do you want for your birthday? Or what do you want to do for your birthday? And they say shit like that. And it's like, what gift do you want? Oh, anything you make. And as a kid, you're like, oh, fuck off. Just tell me what you really want. Truth is now, that's a wonderful night for me. And then this weekend, I think we're going to watch a movie and have some, go to lunch or something. But I'm just saying, it's crazy. The older you get, the less important those things feel. I think because you realize that in your head, where else would you realize it, Jaffe? You realize that I feel 18. I understand my body's older, of course, but I don't feel any different than when I was 18 years old, heading off to USC. So I have more knowledge. I have a little bit of wisdom, but yeah, there it is. Let me get the super chats. Thank you, Christopher Gorley. He says, happy birthday, Jaffe. I appreciate that, sir, very, very much. We got Luca. Thank you, buddy. Luca, the director of a very interesting motion picture that we'll be talking about in a little bit called Dog. It's about a BDSM vampire. Where did you ever think to smush vampires together with 50 Shades of Grey? It's probably like, he's probably a genius. He's probably like going, well, what sells really well? Let's see. The Twilight series sells well and the 50 Shades of Grey series sells well. Well, let me fucking make a motion picture show about a sexy vampire who's into the 50 Shades of Grey. Regardless, we'll be talking about that later on. That's called Dog, and he's looking to get funding for it. It looks pretty fucking cool. But thank you for the super chat, Luca. Also, I want to say, look at you generous, nice motherfuckers. Thank you guys so much. Follow Me Records drops in, says he's give me an update on this video game. Oh, The Day Before is an open world zombie game. You should check it out. A very interesting subject and weird at the same time. All right, I will check it out. I have never heard of it. Never heard of it before. Okay, absolutely. So, Say Lou, thank you, buddy. That's insanely generous. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate the nice birthday wishes and the nice super chat. Thank you very much, pal. Say Lou drops a massive super chat. He says, happy birthday. Thank you, buddy. It's very, very much appreciated. I'm having a great one, and thank all you guys in the chat as well. But yeah, that's very generous, buddy. Thanks, man. The biting part of vampirism, says Henry, could easily tie into BDSM. I suppose so. I am. Mr. Edits is like, read the super chats. I'm getting to it, motherfucker. What do you think this is? Do you think I'm a fucking puppet? Fuck you, motherfucker. John Weston says, I turned 40 last August and it meant nothing. It's just a number. Still 18 on the inside. Right? Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely, man. I agree. 100%. Okay. Brett Williams, thank you. No, wait. Oh, Brett Williams turned 42. Thank you, Brett Williams. I appreciate that super chat, man. He says, happy birthday, Papa Jaffe. Thank you, buddy. I'm 40 this year. Is it true that 40s are way better than 20s or 30s? Whenever you would go see, and this is dating me, which I don't care. I like being 51. Whenever you would go see Billy Joel in concert, and I must have seen Billy Joel 3, 4, 5 times live, one of the things he would always say, I don't remember how he incorporated this into his concerts, but he'd say 20s are all about surviving. And I didn't feel like 20s were a survival challenge, but I definitely felt that you're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I think every decade is better. Some shit happens to you, for sure. I mean, in my late 30s or early 40s, I got divorced in my 40s. I lost my company in my 40s. But those were just, by the time you get to be 40, you realize that when you fall down, that's a gift. That's as much as a gift as when you succeed. Because it's the falling down that teaches you how to succeed and how to actually go on to have some wisdom in your life. But thank you for the super chat, buddy. I enjoyed my 40s. Hopefully you will the same, good sir Brett. Frank Blasey has been a member of this here show, which I appreciate, buddy, for going on 16 months. I wonder who the first member is who's going to get the 2-year icon to pop. I don't know, but Frank, you're getting there, buddy. Thank you. He says, happy birthday, you old so-and-so. Like Benjamin Button, you're looking younger with age, and just like Benji Button, you'll probably die a gigantic baby. Well, I think I'm already a gigantic baby. Just read people who hate me. They'll tell you. But thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Okay. Where did that go? Kruger says 40 is the new 20. Light him up. You goddamn right. Lord Garth, thank you, buddy. He has gifted me with a piece of birthday cake. I appreciate that very, very much. Very generous, buddy. Very, very generous. Reading my kids a book is the best thing for me now, says Johnny Weston. Used to be Coke and E 20 years ago. I love reading my children books when they were little. They started getting to an age that I could tell I was losing them. And so I would have to start being really vulgar. Like when they were like in, 6th grade, it would be like, I read them this book called Yoko, or I think it was called Yoko, about this little cat, anthropomorphic cat, Japanese girl. People make fun of her sushi. I don't fucking know. And I would just be like, and then Yoko took a shit all over the teacher's desk, and my kids would crack the fuck up, and I had so much fun. And then around 7th grade, they're like, could you stop reading, old man? It is what it is, but I love it. Follow Me Records, thank you, buddy. He says, happy birthday, Jaffe. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The day before is expected in June, but oh man, a lot of weird shit is going on around this game. Best for you. Enjoy your day. Thank you, sir. I will look into that. I will absolutely look into that. Okay. The one thing I want to say before I want to get off this birthday stuff, as much as I appreciate it, let's get to the work, which is the video game news. Before I get to it, I just want to tell you the only thing that occurred to me today. Here's there's 2 things I want to tell you. One's related to video games, one's personal. I'll start with the personal one first, but they're both actually personal. The first one is, it's been really neat to go onto Facebook and see the birthday wishes from video game people that still bothered to write on my wall, which makes me go, okay, those are kind of true blue good guys or girls or women, whatever. Whereas the ones that didn't, I mean, it doesn't mean a lot. I don't go into Facebook anymore, so if I don't write on your Facebook page, it doesn't mean anything. But I'm just saying it was nice to get a little tip of the hat from some of these industry vets that are still doing it or were doing it that don't think I've burned any bridges with this here stream. And as much as I would prefer not to, I'm not willing to not be honest within reason. But I love that they're still there. That means a lot to me. The other thing is the personal thing, which was, the one thing, I don't know what dredged up the thought. But I was lying in bed earlier and I just thought, it sucks not to get a birthday wish from your mom when your mom's gone. My mom's been gone 7 years now. And it's not like I miss her every day, and I'm not like, oh my God, I've moved on. I love her, hold her in my memories, see her in my dreams, all that. But, as I'm not walking around sad or anything. I've processed it. I've grieved a long time ago. But there are moments like today where it wasn't that I got to missing my mom today. It was just that little moment where I was like, there's nothing in the world she would rather have done than call her kids on their birthday. And the fact that that call doesn't come anymore, I think it just sort of illustrates the finality, at least the finality that we can perceive at the moment. And maybe that's all there is. I don't mean to make you sad. Elzin says, Jaffe, you made me sad. You gotta rise and fall with that shit, baby. It's just emotions. It's not gonna kill you. Unless you process your emotions shittily, then you're fucked. Okay, Follow Me Records. Thank you, buddy. He says, he says, happy birthday, Jaffe. The day before is expected in June. Oh, we talked about that. Good. Andreas, thank you, buddy. That's what I was looking for. He says, happy birthday to my favorite Xbot Sony pony content creator and ex-developer extraordinaire. Thank you, sir. Good God, man. Thank you for the super chat. Good God, man. Fuck. Fucking Sony pony horse shit. Xbot horse shit. Sean says, your mom influenced the creation of God of War. She's a legend. Yeah. There's nothing about that is not true. I mean, my mom, you guys don't know. My mom was just and my dad, my whole family was just insanely supportive of all of my creative bullshit. Even when I was making these movies and tearing up the living room, we had one time where we literally brought in giant sets into the living room with giant lights and furniture that we rented from a furniture store because the scene was this girl's bedroom, and then practice camera tracking the shots because we were going to film it at a TV studio the next day. And we tore up that house. We probably lost them $60,000 in value on that house. But that's the kind of support that I got from them. And that if you have kids, they need it. They need it, man. I've been talking to people. You know me. I'm a lefty. I'm a progressive. And I talk about all the LGBT stuff. And it's amazing how many times people write me and say, I wish my parents would have supported me like you support your kids or whatever. I'm not blowing smoke at my butthole. I'm just saying, if you got kids and they're still young enough that they need your support, which they probably always do it. Let's get to the news. Let's get to games. Come on now. There's Doge from Bartlett Jones. He says, I don't really use Facebook anymore. Twitter for public things and Instagram for messaging. Well, Aiden Doge, who worked on Oddworld, we are going to be talking about Oddworld in just a couple of minutes. So if you want to call in or have some takes on it, I'm here for you, baby. Follow Me Records, Jesus Christ, man. If Follow Me Records is an actual record company, you're spending way too much money. You don't need to be doing that. But anyway, let me read what he says. He says, would be nice to hear your opinion about the game. I missed your live stuff. I was abroad for some time and couldn't find time to watch you. More people like you. You are so original motherfucker.
Stupid idiot.
Oh my God. No, I appreciate that. Follow Me Records. Here's what I'll do. I will look into it tonight and I'll just kind of talk about it a little bit on the next stream, and then I'll keep it on my radar. Absolutely. It sounds interesting. So you just bought Lego Star Wars CR3D. The game has no business being that good. Exactly. Listen, the big problem that I think, look, Lego Star Wars, Lego Star Wars is not it doesn't need my help. I mean, it's selling like fucking gangbusters. But I have come across a number of people online that act as if, and it's not their fault. They're like, oh, I'm tired of the Lego games. I was as well. And I don't know, like I said, it doesn't seem to be hurting them, but I don't know if they've done a good enough job communicating how different this Lego game is from the other ones. Because if this was just Star Wars with more of the same, like Lego shit, like Marvel and earlier Star Wars, I wouldn't have even bought it. But they've really done some good updates with this game. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday on the pot stream, just because it was like, you know, I know they crunched. I know it was a hard team to work on, apparently, but proof's in the goddamn pudding. Proof's in the goddamn pudding. I'm with you, pal. It's a great game. Jojo D says there's a club, the Dead Parent Club, and you can't be in it until you're in it. You can try to understand, you can try to sympathize, but until you feel the loss, you just don't know. Oh, I guess that's from Grey's Anatomy. I haven't watched that before. Yeah, I mean, but it's, you know, it beats the alternative, which is the kid dying before the parent. I can't even fathom. I can't even fucking fathom. Well, hello, child.
Is the pizza cutter clean?
Yes, but you should probably wipe it off because it's from the pizza last night. Yeah?
Laura?
Yes, please. Okay. Where'd that go? Oh, look at that. Good goddamn. You guys are so fucking generous. Kruger says, your mom, Jaffe, will wish you happy birthday spiritually the minute you were born. Oh, I know. Your mom thinks you spiritually the second she passed. I know. Don't y'all make me cry now, y'all sons of bitches. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I know. Last thing I'm going to say on this, I know you're here for the games, and I'll promise you I'll timestamp this, and so you can jump past all this if you're like, dude, what is happening with the games? I know. I hate that when podcasts do that. I'm sorry. But I appreciate it, and this is just sending my ADD mind off the rails a little bit. All I know is since my parents did die, I understand now. I don't even know if I don't know if when people say it, like you hear it in the movies, like, oh, he'll always be in your heart. She'll always be with you or whatever. And, you know, it always to me sounded like, it was nice to hear, but what I assume they meant was either they literally thought it, which meant, okay, well, I don't really know if I believe in that. I'd like to, but I have no evidence of that. Or it meant that, you know, it was more metaphorical. But since my parents have gone, both of them are gone, the most fascinating part about it is I've started to get my head around immortality a little bit, and this idea of, you know, whether my parents' consciousness has survived or not, who the fuck knows? I certainly don't. But what I do know is so much, and I'm talking physiologically, obviously DNA, but also what they taught me, so much of them is with me because of my experiences with them and probably physiologically, that it's I haven't had an experience yet where I can't go, I wonder what mom would want me to do, or I wonder what daddy would say about this. I'm like, well, I know, because he in that way he's never left, right? So that's pretty cool. And I'll tell you that I dream about him a lot, and I don't know if they're visitation dreams or if they're just memories or whatever, but when I'm having the dreams, I'm there with them, and my brain doesn't know the difference. And so if you're ever, you know, if you're ever worried about it, it's sad, but it's not as bad as you think. Let's move on. Jorge Padua. Thank you, good sir. That's an incredibly generous super chat. You need to do that. He says, happy birthday, Jaffe. I lost my dad at 11, and I do wish I could pick his brain at my current age of 52. I love you, man. I'm in bed recovering from surgery. I was almost out of here. Listening to you was one of the things that helped. Well, thank you, sir, but why the fuck did you almost die? What kind of fucking surgery did you have? And I'm sorry you lost your dad at such a young age. This is why, and you know, there are companies, they're very nascent, but they're on the up and up, which are building chatbots and AIs of relatives. And you know, before I get too old, I'll probably reach out to one of those companies and give them access to all my social media and all my stuff and say, look, if my kids ever want to build a chatbot, I'm down with that. We're going to talk a little bit about VR a little bit later in the show. There's some really exciting things happening in VR right now that I want to share with you. But I told somebody earlier today that in the next 10 or 20 years, you know, living in reality will simply be an option. It won't necessarily be them. It's amazing how close people are working on things that are getting us closer to that level of immersion. But thank you for the super chat, Pedro. I very much appreciate that, pal. Jaffe says, Double R, when is the last time you actually cried? I was bawling sometime this week. We were sitting around, me and the kids and my ex, and we were watching an episode of The Good Doctor. Oh. And we're watching The Good Doctor. And in it, there's a teenage girl. She's 16. And she dies, or she's a vegetable, right? She's a car accident or something. And there's another girl who is a teenager who a long time ago had an accident with a gun, and her face is just totally deformed. And what they realize is they can go to the mother of the girl who's brain damaged or who's vegetable state, and they can do a face transplant. And they do, and it's great, blah, blah, blah. But I was bawling, man, because there's a scene, and you guys probably know this, when a donor dies, and they're taking the body to wherever they go to harvest the organs, I guess is what the verb is. All the doctors and nurses and staff that are available, they line up in something that's called like a walk of gratitude or something like that. And as they push the deceased patient past them, everybody bows or claps or says thank you. And so the mother is walking with her daughter, who is still alive because she's brain dead. And at the end of the hall are the doctors who are going to take her away and basically, you know, end her life and then take her face. And man, I was just, and you know, my ex was like, okay. And my kids were like, they laugh at me when I cry, but I was just, you know, I was all up in it, man. I was all up in it. But there's people like, what is this show? What is this show? Eternal says, my cat is obsessed with the stream right now. He's all rubbing on my phone, staring deep into Jaffe's eyes. Come on now. Come on now. All right. Let me get these super chats and we will move on. We will move on. Thank you. Thrillho666 super chatted. Happy birthday, Jaffe. May you stay moist. Baby, I'm trying. I'm trying to stay moist in the nether regions every minute I get, and that super chat didn't hurt. Thank you. Tomato 182, thank you, buddy. He says, happy birthday. It is mine too. Happy birthday fucking to you.
Happy birthday, bitch.
It is yours too, and it's Thomas Jefferson's birthday. We got some heavy hitters on this April 13th. Now, let's talk about video games. What I want to tell you, speaking of video games, is, as you can tell, all of the buttons and sound buttons and shit like that are going. And I found one, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Listen to this. I don't know what I mean, I know what he's saying. Where did this come from? Listen to this. Hey, come back. Listen to this.
Kratos, transexual. Kratos, transexual.
He's saying Kratos, which is how they say it in Spain, Portugal. And then he's saying Kratos, transsexual. Holy shit, man. Mid-Toker Marius, thank you for joining the Diet Soda Soldiers, buddy. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, buddy. Seriously, very, very nice to have you here. Mighty generous and courteous of you. Thank you, sir. Very, very nice. Have a smoke of the pipe, baby. Okay, there you go. That's for you, buddy. That's for our new best friend, Mid-Toker. I'm not going to call you best friends. This ain't kind of funny, you motherfucker. Jorge, you said you fucked up and sent what happened on the regular chat. All right, let me see what happened to Jorge, because he says he almost died. I just want to see. Oh, he says, I was treated horribly of diverticulitis. I had to switch hospitals because they almost killed me. I got sepsis. And I can tell you it was bad. I spent 14 days in the hospital and now I'm home. Well, goddamn, man. I'm glad you're well. I'm glad you dodged that fucking bullet. Go get a lawsuit, baby. Get a lawsuit. Kruger says, hey, Thomas Jefferson legalized Abe's Odyssey. All right. We're going to talk about that. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Okay.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Okay, we are going to talk about. I'm going to block myself from the chat so I don't get distracted for a little bit. You can hit me up in the super chats. You can hit me up on the phone. But for now, let's get into the video game news because there's a lot of interesting shit that is going on. The first thing, this is pretty good. This is pretty exciting. So we have heard a lot over the years about. A lot of these companies do their remasters and shit. Sony does a lot of them. Microsoft's been doing a decent amount of them. Well, today Bandai Namco announced that they're working with Nintendo on an unannounced remaster. They're not saying what it is. The reason we know about it is it was a job listing that someone over at Reset Era found that says Bandai Namco has been contracted by Nintendo to give an unnamed game a full HD overhaul. People are guessing and whatnot. Obviously, the first choice would be for them to remaster Metroid Dread and make it good.
Happy birthday, bitch!
But that's probably not going to happen. Also, I don't think, people have been speculating like some of the 2D ones. It's like, why would they do that, right? I think it's like, and I don't think they're doing Mario Kart. I guess it's maybe kind of sort of possible it could be Super Mario 64. That game still holds up. I don't think it's going to be a Zelda game because they're, why would you remaster Ocarina of Time again, which I think they've done recently, especially when they're pushing the new Breath of the Wild. I would say this is probably gonna be more. People are suggesting Metroid Prime. I think that makes a lot of sense, even though I haven't played it, but I know it's a proper 3D game. I don't see them doing any Mario Kart stuff or Smash Bros stuff. My guess, the most logical guess, would be Metroid Prime. But this is people are speculating Paper Mario, Ocarina of Time, Super 64. I would guess that or Metroid. Mario Kart 64, no. Star Fox, no. Mario Tennis, no. I don't even know what. Sin and Punishment, come on. Somebody's guessing Winback from the N64 days from Koei, no. Yoshi's Story was not great. Yoshi's Island is one of the best platformers ever made, but I have a hard time believing they'll do that one. Somebody said Banjo-Kazooie, but that's Microsoft now, right? So that doesn't even fit in. I will tell you that Banjo-Kazooie I played recently on Xbox. And even though it's antiquated as fuck, and the controls are a fucking nightmare, it absolutely still holds up. It's a really fun game to still play in 2022. And I was engaged for a good 3 or 4 hours, and then I got busy with other things and I haven't gone back to it. But that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to just hit a button and here I am. It's on Game Pass, just playing Banjo-Kazooie. My guess is it's going to be Mario 64 or it's going to be Metroid Prime. We'll find out. Listen to this little ditty. This is interesting. It's all interesting. I don't give you things that aren't interesting. There's about the Last of Us TV show, right? The star, also the star of The Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal. He says, this is weird to me. Now, the good thing he said was this, although this is an easy thing to say. You could say this about anything. But he's comparing Neil Druckmann and his producing partner, and I forget the producing partner's name on the show, but he says that, it's Craig Mazin, who also, I think, worked on not Atlanta, but one of the Chernobyl, I think is what it was. He says those guys remind me a lot of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in that they love the property so much that they're just incredibly passionate and it comes through, blah, blah, blah. Then whatever. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm sure it's true. I'm not doubting him. I'm just saying that that's an easy thing to say that, you know, that's like when you watch behind the scenes documentaries and it's like, what was it like working with, Bradley Cooper? Oh, let me tell you, he's so funny and he's smart too. Why say anything? Because it's all horse shit or it's all PR. But what he did say that I think I take a little issue with here. He says he hasn't played any of the Last of Us games. And he says there's two reasons. Number one is he doesn't have any skill to play the Last of Us games. And it's like, well, oh my God. Hang on. This is Shannon Studstill just texted me, and I'm asking her if I can put her on the show real quick. But he says, he hadn't played the games, and he says I haven't played them because I don't want to imitate Joel, like as he was done in the game. And so it's like, okay, kind of on one hand, but isn't that kind of like if you're making a movie based on a book? Like, can you imagine, can you, hang on. Can you imagine if they were making like we're going to make a book based on, whatever, The Hobbit, I don't know. Well, I didn't read it because I didn't want to be influenced by the book. It's like, motherfucker, get somebody who can play games to play the game or watch it on YouTube. That just seems, it's one of those weird kind of, I just don't like it. I don't like it. Oh my God. Whatever. She's so difficult. Hang on. Good Lord. She does not want to be on camera. She says, call Shu. I don't want to call Shu. I want to call Shannon. Put her on the show. And I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like it. He says he tried to play the game, but he handed the controller to his nephew. He didn't have the skill. He then said he watched his nephew play for a while, but other than the sounds like he hasn't seen much of the games. The actor said that's because he doesn't want to get close to the game character while filming. I found Joel so impressive. I found the whole of it such visually impressive experience. And then I got worried I would want to imitate him so much, which I think could be right in some circumstances, but then a mistake in others. So I just wanted to create a healthy distance and for that to be more in the hands of Neil and Craig. I mean, okay, I get it. I get it. God, whatever. Oh, fuck off. Shannon says, you want to call Herman? No! You know what? I am streaming. You are annoying. Okay. People are like, what are you doing on this show, Jeffy? Is this a game? What are you doing? Such a weirdo. Not me, her. Okay? Anyway, there you go. There's some Joel news if you want it. Okay. Well, I did not. Jorge says I fucked up and sent what happened on regular chat. Fuck you. Maybe I did. I don't fucking know. Did I? I might have done that. I don't care. Oh no. Oh no. I'm getting all these wonderful pieces of information, but I'm like, I can't talk to these people right now. People, this show is not going well. It's not going well. If you're listening to the podcast, all I can say is give me a fucking break. I can't help it. What am I going to do? Not take a call from one of the best game producers in the business. Let's move on. Now, on this show, we do talk about sales a lot because I find them fascinating. I find them very interesting as it relates to, you know, not just who's doing well and who's not doing well, but why are things selling and why are certain games connecting and why did this game that we thought was going to be a big hit go and it just crashed and burned, right? Well, we don't get as much of the sales as I would like in America, but right now, today, we got these sales from the UK. It's the entire month of March of both digital and retail, okay? So we're getting some good data here that will track mostly, if you kind of filter out FIFA and certain territorial special cases, will track with America and a lot of other places in the world. So let me give you a heads up. At least in the UK, console sales are down 46%, but it's driven by the stock shortages. That's not because people don't love games anymore. It's just because nobody's got them. Xbox topped the charts of hardware. Xbox X and S saw the biggest increase in sales in March. They were up 61% compared with February. Microsoft's consoles were the best selling in March, which was obviously helped by more stock. We've talked about that. Microsoft paid money is the word to accelerate chip production. No idea why Sony didn't, but there you go. Nintendo Switch sales fell 21%. They were number 2. Number 3, PS5 is still in third as the console continues to suffer from shortages. However, Sony's latest machine did see a 45% rise in stock compared with the month before. This is getting, I don't know if this, I'll tell you what, how long can this go on before it becomes an actual issue for Sony, right? Is it a few more months and then it starts eventually hurting them? Or is it like if they get to the holidays and they still have the chip shortage, is that like, you know what, there's nothing we can do? I have no idea. The games, though, listen to this. Second month in a row, this game was number 1. You know what game it was? Second month in a row. It wasn't Gran Turismo. That came in at number 2. And that's weird because most of the sales are digital these days. They said digital was 2 million sales this month, up 10%. Physical sales were down almost 20%, only 830,000. So again, digital is very quickly outpacing physical. But so this is interesting. Gran Turismo is number 2. And it did really well at retail. I think people who really like car culture and really like PlayStation, it makes sense they would buy the physical. They like to have the ownership and display. It almost seems like caring about car culture and caring about collecting video games and displaying them go hand in hand. But that 45% of Gran Turismo was for the box version. Best-selling physical game of the month. This is interesting. 73% of Gran Turismo was PS5. So remember we talked a while ago about how Miles Morales for the longest time was parity with PS4. It wasn't 50-50. PS5 was a little bit more, but PS4 and PS5, according to news sources that I have in that world, were like they're pretty much the same. It's starting to close the gap here. 73% went to PS5, the rest went to PS4. So maybe Sony has gotten the message, and we're not going to see after God of War any more cross-gen games, which I know will make a lot of people happy. Listen to this one. 56% of WWE 2K22, which was number 5, which is pretty impressive. 56% were on PlayStation, 41% on Xbox. Isn't that interesting? Usually it's that parity is also greater. But it may just be that there are some things people know aren't coming to Game Pass and they want them, and other things they're willing to wait on. And maybe WWE, for people who love WWE, ain't going to wait on it. I didn't. I bought it. I bought it 3 days early for $100 because I wanted to play it early. So here's. Let me give you let me give you the top 8 first because there's not much to talk about there. Pokemon is 8. GTA Online is 7. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is 6. 5 is WWE 2K, 4 is FIFA, 3 is GTA 5, the remasters, 2 is Gran Turismo 7. Number 1 for the second month in a row is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is number 1 for the second month in a row. Horizon Forbidden West is down at number 9 after only 6 weeks out. I'm curious what you guys think. Leave a comment, hit me up in the Discord, whatever. The first Horizon, which was on PS4, obviously, which had a lot more PS4s out in the world by the time it came out, I think, did over 20 million copies. Is this going to do over 20 million copies? Like, is this going to be a disappointment? And the thing is it, I look, I'm not shitting, whatever, think what you want. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people thinking whenever I say anything, it's anti-Sony or anti-Xbox. It's not what this is about. It's about loving the industry, passion about the industry, being curious how it works, why it works, how consumers make their choices. So Gran Turismo 2, which is also Sony, is firmly planted in the number 2 position. See, we're not hating Sony, fucks. Horizon Forbidden West, though, is number 9 after 6 weeks. Now, that's not bad. There's nothing bad about being number 9 after 6 weeks, but it certainly doesn't seem like the flagship title that I think a lot of people, including me, when I saw the state of plays and how amazing it looked, expected it to be. Now, I don't know if that's because most people who are playing action adventure right now are choosing Elden Ring because it's a sort of the flavor of the month, and Forbidden West will pop back up in a few months and it'll be fine, or if it says something about Forbidden West. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about Forbidden West. There are fans that are very vocal, but I don't know. So that one's curious. Kirby's number 10, but it's way up there more. The only company that doesn't provide digital is Nintendo. So they made it to the number 10 combined list simply by how many copies of the physical they sold, which means when digital is in, it's probably going to be in the top 3. Then everything else, for the most part, it's like Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, number 20. It debuted at number 20. Once again, Square Enix showing they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I can't wait for it performed below expectations. It's like, well, at this point, I wonder, like, is the guy who makes the projections for Square just a moron? It's like, honey, I can't do on the drop of the hat always these analogies. This is a terrible one, but I'm going to use it. It's like, honey, I stepped in dog shit. I have shit on my shoe. Oh, that's just terrible. I'm not even going to do it. I'm not even going to do it. That was terrible.
Stupid idiot!
But what I will tell you, though, is don't come out in 3 months and go, it performed below expectations. Yeah, of course it did. Did you play it? It was fine, but come on, what are you doing? But then everything else between 19 and 12 are old fucking games. Call of Duty Vanguard, Rainbow Six Siege, Mario Kart 8, Jedi Fallen Order, Battlefront 2, NBA 2K22, Valhalla, Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like there's just not enough games being made anymore. Back in the heyday of consoles in terms of software releases, I mean, every month, other than a couple of real big hitters, new things came in, old things dropped out. Now it's like being in the top 20 doesn't mean that much for the most part, because all you have to do is be a hit and you ain't going anywhere because there's not much released anymore. But anyway, there you go. There's your top. I'll tell you one more thing about Elden Ring. We talked about this yesterday, but I didn't realize how deep this went. By the way, I want to say thank you to Peapod. He's been a member for 18 months, man. He says, kiss your PlayStation 5 or else. No, I won't. I'm not Jessica Showbot. I will not kiss it, and I want to see what the or else is. What's going to happen, Peapod? What's going to occur that is going to be so detrimental to my enjoyment of time on this planet? Huh? Elden Ring. So listen to this. Twitter's global head of creator and gaming content, a lady named Risha Shadha, has some interesting data about Twitter and video games. We already went over the top 10. That's not what's interesting anymore. We did that. We did that yesterday. But she says it's a good snapshot of how the platform's global paying audience is talking about video games. Genshin Impact, Ensemble Stars, Project Sakai, and Fate Grand Order are huge international hits. but they're not, other than Genshin, very big in America. And so she shared that it's like, if you actually look at the world of games and not just these Western charts, it's amazing how disparate it is, or how different it is from where we are. Here's what she said didn't make the list. The top 10 of the quarter one. You know, we had Wordle, we had Genshin, we had Apex Legends, we had Minecraft, Final Fantasy Online, Elden Ring, and a bunch of these we've never heard of for the most part. Here's what didn't make the list. There was no Dying Light 2. There was no Horizon Forbidden West. There was no Gran Turismo 7. They all came out. They generated interest, but they're not in the metrics. These are the 4 biggest gaming moments for the quarter that people were tweeting about. Here we go. Number 4 is the launch of Fortnite's latest season. Number 3 is the release of Elden Ring. Number 2 is Sony's acquisition of Bungee. And number 1 is Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard. I just find that fascinating because it suggests what the people and the kids are into. Listen to this. Listen to this right now. Hang on a sec. Bungee has said, you know what? This is great. I think this is fucking great. This is a great change, and I love that it is taking off. Bungee is going digital first. Many current roles and future roles, this is from Kotaku, will be fully remote. Activision and Riot have been telling people, come back, and people haven't been happy about it. People walked out, caused a brouhaha, had to make policy changes, on and on and on. Bungie's like, nope, we're good. They announced today that the company is going digital first, and most current and future roles will be fully remote across a range of states. Now, right now, they released a map. They have, in America, Washington State, California, Oregon, Illinois, Florida, North Carolina, and Texas. They don't explain why those are in the mix. I assume it will ultimately be everywhere. The article speculates maybe it's taxes. Somebody else speculates that those are states that have really good Wi-Fi or broadband infrastructure. I don't know. They don't know either. But the point of it is, though, is if you are one of those insanely stupid people that are considering going into the video game business, look, geometry still matters if you're a programmer, especially a math programmer, 3D programmer, but geography doesn't matter like it used to. And that's a big deal. I know if you're not in the industry, but when I was working in the business, I was always terrified of like, oh, if I lose my job, and I don't want to move. I don't want to be one of these nomadic video game programmers that travels all over for the job. My generation of game designers, and before and some after, it was very nomadic because, you know, the company moves, the company fires you, lays you off, goes out of business. You got to go where the work is, and the work's not localized for the most part. That's coming to an end, which is wonderful. I literally did I got a call yesterday about a colleague to give them my thoughts on the colleague, which were wonderful. Great designer. And this is a company that's working remote. They have some people in their office, but most people are like wherever we can find the best talent. It's just an amazing time. It's an amazing time to be working in video games in regards to that you can sit at home, have your life. Yeah, you're still going to crunch like a motherfucker, but depending on the studio, but you can crunch while your kids running around behind you. You can crunch and take a break, and instead of go outside and smoke with your buddies, you can go fuck your wife for, 5 minutes, which, let's be honest, does it really take much longer for you? No. I know you've tried. I know you've done the Kegel exercises and all that shit. You're never getting above 5 minutes. You either got it or you don't. And it's about meditation. Here's what you can do. You can meditate. I'm not even fucking with you. You think I'm doing a bit. You can totally meditate. Boy. And if you meditate, the whole point of meditating is it allows your mind to focus, to not be distracted, right? It's not magic. It just lets you keep your thoughts clean. So a lot of times people say, oh, think about baseball. But a lot of times even saying think about baseball becomes, if you're in the mood, you start thinking about what would baseball with naked ladies be like. It's like, that's not helping. But if you get into meditation, or something that allows you to kind of just watch your breath, watch your breath, watch your breath. Before you know it, you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm still here. I'm still present for you. Otherwise, 5 minutes, what you got. The point is, work from home. It's good stuff. Let's move on. Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. Look at this fucktard. I shouldn't say that. That's a bad way to say things. I don't mean that. But look at this fucker. Gavin Newsom. I voted for him. I voted for him. There's a lot I like about him. I'm sorry, this is some crooked shit going on. Have you heard about this? Here's the headline. It's all over the place, but this is game developers specifically. California Governor Gavin Newsom accused of interfering in Activision Blizzard lawsuit. This shit is rotten. Whether you're talking Bobby Kotick and insider trading with Warren Buffett and David Geffen, whether you're talking about a variety of other people who made a lot of money off this deal that had potentially inside information, whether you're talking about this Kotick guy is one of the richest people in the world, I would imagine. He is connected. He is influential. You've got here's what went down. So, the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, they're the ones that are suing Activision, saying, we've investigated you for 2 years. You haven't gotten your shit together. A woman died. She killed herself over your shit. Your shit still hasn't gotten better. We're fucking suing you. Okay? This is all from Bloomberg, though. It says, an email was sent Tuesday night by that department, the DFEH, Assistant Chief Counsel lawyer, Melanie Proctor. In the email, Proctor told the staff she was resigning to protest the firing of her boss, which was the chief counsel on the case, Jeanette Whipper. She had been directly fired by Newsom. Now, Newsom, 3 months ago when she was reinstated, or she was, I think she was rehired, or he made a big deal about her. He's like, hey, we're happy to have her. It was public and everything. Well, now 3 months later, he's firing her. Nobody knows why. None of these people that have quit can give you an answer why. Newsom's not saying anything, but listen to this. Proctor's email, the woman who wrote this email saying I'm resigning, apparently detailed a long pattern of interference by Newsom's office that led up to her boss's firing. The office is a quote. The office of the governor repeatedly demanded advance. Think about what I'm saying. Listen to the words. You're like, I am, Jeff. I was. Why did you stop? The office of governor repeatedly demanded advance notice of litigation strategy and of the next steps in litigation. And as we continued to win against Activision kind of putting up blockades legally, as they continued to win in state court, the interference not only increased, but the interference started mimicking the interest of Activision's counsel. She claimed that Whipper was fired for attempting to protect the agency's independence. It's unclear why Newsom's office was paying such close attention to Activision Blizzard. The DFEH has successfully negotiated a $100 million settlement out of Riot Games. Remember this? Riot got sued for all kinds of terrible workplace shit, and they were going to have a settlement of it was nothing. It was pittance. And these guys stepped in and said, fuck no. These guys need to be held their feet to the fire for these terrible ways they treated women and minorities and all that. And it went from a pittance to $100 million, right? But suddenly, this case, it's even worse, is not worth it. High-level interference, it says, suggests some desire to wrap the case up. When the case is being prosecuted, it includes one alleged wrongful death and multiple allegations of physical assault being covered up. It's difficult to see why so many institutions are so interested in letting the company avoid consequences. No, it's not. No, it is not. This is all alleged. I don't have any evidence. I'm not saying any of these people are guilty. But how many dots need to be connected? I know for a while it was a conspiracy. It wasn't a conspiracy theory. Bobby Kotick's name was in Epstein's black book. And it was like, well, Epstein had a lot of names in his black book. It didn't mean that that was why they knew Epstein. It could have been a million reasons. But Bobby Kotick's starting to sound like a real bad guy. Not just like a video game bad guy, but like a guy who's, it's not going to end well. Something's bad. Gavin Newsom Communications Director Aaron Mellon provided the following statement. Claims of interference by our office are categorically false. The Newsom administration supports the effective work DFEH has done under directing Kevin Kish to enforce civil rights laws and protect workers. Great. Newsom says it's okay, y'all. False alarm. We can all go home. Hey, Yorch, I was about to bring you in. I was about to bring Yorch in to see what he wanted to talk about. Yorch, call back. I'll put you on the minute I see you. Fuck this bullshit. Fuck this bullshit. Let me bring in Yorch, and I want to tell you how the little guy, though, is perhaps winning. Yorch, it is Jaffe. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
What's up?
I'm the one recovering from all this bullshit from the hospital. So.
Oh, well, good
Yeah,
God,
man.
man. I'm glad you're okay. What the fuck?
Yeah, man. It was a bad time, but
It sounds
and from now it's just better every day, right?
good.
So
Good. Let me
Yeah.
help you along. Let me help you along. Hang on. Are you touching yourself right now?
yeah, of course, man. I'm always
Close your
touching it.
close your eyes.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh man, there you go, buddy. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, you talked about a lot of stuff that makes sense there. First, all this Activision bullshit, man. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, it is incredible if this news is true, and the fact that, I mean, look, you don't want to jump the gun, and I'm not saying it's true, but when you've got this department that has historically been really successful and lauded for going after these shit companies, and the minute they try to really put their foot down with Activision, which is really the worst of them, suddenly people are getting fired with no explanation that had been celebrated by the very person who's firing them only a few months ago. And they're accused.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, something's going on. It's rotten. It's dirty. And I'm fucking sick of it. I'm fucking sick of these people getting away with this shit just because they got money. I'm fucking tired of it. It's time for something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but something.
Yeah, it's hard not to think of some conspiracy bullshit,
They've
And I hate
yeah,
that.
they've made
I
their.
hate
I agree,
but-
but they've made their
yeah.
bed. They've made all these
Yep.
politicians, both sides. They've made their bed of
Yeah.
being easily corruptible fucksticks, and you know what? That's on them. Sorry if we think the worst of them anytime a shoe drops, but that's the
Yeah.
reputation you got.
Yeah, I just hope that all these people who were involved in all this stuff get their stuff, like they get punished or whatever it is, man. Because you people can't keep on doing all this bullshit and getting out of it,
Well, I'm not
Like,
gonna.
it's-
I'm not
it's
gonna say
so
publicly
bad.
what I think is gonna happen because it would probably
Yeah.
get me in some not serious trouble, but it would raise some eyebrows. But let's just say, it's just a gut feeling. I know nothing. It's just a gut feeling. My gut feeling is no better than anyone else's, but there's a gut feeling I have that makes me think this is going to end in a way that is very dramatic compared to what we think. It's not going to just end with Bobby Kotick eventually leaving Activision. That's not where this is going.
You mean?
What's that?
Yeah, no, I lost you for a second.
No,
think it was-
I think shit's going to go really south for Bobby Kotick, but we'll see what happens.
Well, let's hope, man. I mean, I don't want to,
No,
wish
yeah.
and wishes, death wishes or bad things to anyone, right?
I
That's not
do.
my kind of
I
deal.
do. I do.
But this is really bad.
Well,
this
yeah.
is really bad
There's a point where you
from
kind
a
of go,
humanity standpoint.
From a humanity, exactly. There's a point where you kind of go, yeah, it's the noble thing to say, I don't want to wish bad things on anybody. But the fact of the matter is this guy, if the rumors are true, or not even rumors, the lawsuit is true,
Yeah.
has led a company for decades that has been harming innocents. Men,
Yeah.
specifically women, black women specifically, drove one woman to kill herself. I'm sorry, I do wish bad things on people like that. Because it's not like it was an
Yeah.
accident. He had 20 years to figure out his shit. So, no.
Yeah, and the fact that all this was overlooked just because the guy is making the company a shitload of money,
People
it's just
are-
even more disgusting.
It
you
is.
know?
People are
Like,
fucking cowards, man.
Yeah, man. It sucks, yeah. And on the other hand, about the other topic you were talking about, the games and all that stuff, I'm probably not the best person to talk about it, but
Oh,
I
well,
I
then I'm
do
glad you
feel
called.
a lot of the games feel like a lot of formulaic stuff, Like I'm not even interested in playing like Forbidden West or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's super crazy. Like I've spent a lot of time recently just playing old games and a lot of indie stuff
Yeah.
because I just want, interesting mechanics. I've been playing stuff like Sever Steel
Oh,
and,
so good.
and things like that,
Let me ask
but
you this. How old are you?
I'm 42.
Okay, the reason I asked that is somebody brought something up to me yesterday when I was complaining about, you know, is the Sony formula, and I was referring specifically to a suite of games, not all of their games, is the way they make third-person action adventures getting stale? And somebody said, well, it's not that the formula is getting old, it's that you're getting old, Jaffe. And they weren't being mean or anything, but they were saying, for you, so much of this is old hat that it takes something a lot more special to pop. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I can get if you're 25 or 30
Yeah.
even, and you're playing these games and you didn't come up playing, Atari, ColecoVision, the first NES. For you, maybe you still have some fuel in the tank regarding the level of excitement that you're able to generate based on these games. But for people like you and me, it's like, we've done this so many fucking times that it
Yeah.
takes something special, man.
Yeah, and it's all about, I don't know. I've always been like about the mechanics, and how the game develops and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
And I understand, there's a lot of research they do. They look at the data, they know what sells, and they just go through this formulaic process. And I get it. They're
Yeah.
making money, so nobody can criticize it in that way. But it's like, for example, not having to go to super way back. You were just talking about the Square Enix stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember when SquareSoft at the PlayStation time, when they were like making stuff like Bushido Blade or Einhander and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Those were awesome games. Like
Yeah,
they
but
might have not sold like they wanted, but it's just sad.
well, yeah, but that's going to happen with anything. That's why, like, Severed Steel, right? That's why, if you really love mechanics like you and I both clearly do, you've got to be playing indie games right now. It's not that the new games aren't great. I'm loving Elden Ring, but it's where a lot of things go. It's where creativity and innovation probably dies when it comes to design because it's too expensive to risk. All right, man, feel better. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're still with us. Thank you, buddy, for the support. Did you die? Shit. I think that was the end of him. Well, that was the last. Sorry, George. I think the call just killed him. It's been good knowing you, pal. Damn. All right. Let's move on. Here's a rumor. It's only a rumor. I know nothing. I just want to be very clear. I don't know if this is real or not.
Don't you trust me?
I don't know. I don't know if it's real, but I will tell you that there's a rumor that Sony is shutting down a studio, and the studio may be Pixelopus, those crazy folks who make Concrete Genie. I was going to say Cardboard Genie. There's a sales analyst, Lumberjack Ray. I don't know. Says, he tweeted this: seems like Sony's closing another studio after Manchester. This was shuttered in 2020, and Japan's studio was shuttered last year. He goes on, key notes: I was not told who. It was made clear that the studio was on the chopping block for years, and Sony is finally pulling the plug rather soon. His guess is Media Molecule. Okay, maybe not. But then this drops today. The banner for PlayStation was updated, right? So if you look at it on your screen, this is the banner as of, I don't know, a couple of days ago. There is Pixelopus. There's, Days Gone Studio, Ben. There's Santa Monica, blah, blah, blah. All of them. Well, here's what it looks like today. Gran Turismo was updated. Aloy, I believe, was updated, and Pixelopus has been removed, and Kojima's company, or Death Stranding, what's his name, Bridges guy, Nathan Bridges? I don't know his fucking name. The guy, the Norman Reedus. He's there. Who's this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? Okay, wait. Gran Turismo, Astrobot, Deacon, Aloy, Demon Souls, Blue Point, what's her name? The lady in Returnal, I forget her name. Ellie, Kratos, Jin, the guy in Shishida. I love this character. I forget his name. Something Jin. There's Ratchet. There's Baseball. There's Norman Reedus. Used to be Palox. What the fuck is this? I got to look at the chat real quick. What the fuck is that? House? No, that's not Housemark. Who is it? Yeah, somebody says, Adversary 1 says it's either Shinmu or Andrew Dice Clay. Oh, yeah, Jin Sakai. But who is this guy? Who is this guy next to Norman Reedus? Blood and Truth guy. That's the dude from Blood and Truth. What a generic looking dude. But thank you guys. Thank you, chat. His name's Jimmy Sex, says Brian King. Okay, Sony London. There you go. So, I mean, yeah, who knows? But that's the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but I don't know. If I'm fucking Pixelopus, I'd be like going, what the fuck? What the fuck, Sony? And Dreams is not on here either, though. I don't see Media Molecule on here anywhere. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, well, I mean, look, Pixelopolis doesn't make a lot of sense for Sony anymore if their current roadmap that they have allowed customers like us to be shared with us and or for us to deduce based on actions. Pixelopolis doesn't really seem like the kind of company Sony is looking to own these days, but I don't know. It's all a rumor. I'm not going to talk anymore other than what I'm about to tell you about Amico. We talked yesterday about some weird shit like Amico letting GameStop know to tell their customers that they will not be shipping the Amico to GameStop at least anytime soon, if ever. And so GameStop has canceled all the orders, the pre-orders, refunded money. But I do want to tell you this, because I know a bunch of you guys out there are collectors. I am not one of them. These are still for sale. If you're a game collector or just an investor, you need to seriously consider buying the Amico games. You may never be able to run them except on the rare hardware that does get out. Like the probable scenario, tragically, because I do think it's a that's not fresh, but it's a good idea. And I think their heart's in the right place, but it looks more and more, unless the superhero investor comes in, they're not shipping this fucking box. Okay. So there's not going to be a lot of boxes out there. There's going to be Amicos in the hands of very limited collectors that spend a lot of money for this thing that never shipped. Because it works. I've played it. It's not like vaporware. It's a thing you can own and plug up to your TV and play. Well, to have the games, even though the games are digital and NFTs and all that, these will, it'll cost you $80 to get 4 of them and another $80 to get the other 4. Obviously, it'll cost you less. If you spend $150, you get all 8 games. You'll probably never play them. They'll probably sit in a box in your attic, but in about 15, 20 years, you'll be walking around Comic-Con or whatever, PAX or whatever the big video game show is at the time, and you'll say, good old Papa Jaffe. He gave me a heads up, and now I'm going to go on this $150 investment, and I'm going to make about $6,000 off this investment because these things are going to be dreadfully rare. So you're welcome. All right, let's talk about Oddworld. Let's talk a little bit about Oddworld, shall we? There was a news story that dropped today. Lorne Lanning, who I've met a few times, I've talked to, I like him, good guy, creative guy. Got nothing against Lorne Lanning. I've never worked with the guy, but as a human, as somebody I've engaged with, interviewed, he's interviewed me on and on, super nice dude, like the guy, creative guy. He does an interview with Xbox Expansion Podcast. He's talking to a young fella named Luke Lore of the Louisiana Lores. Here's what he says. The headline that went around today was Oddworld creator says PS Plus was devastating to Soulstorm, which was the last Oddworld game, sales. Okay? He basically is talking about they made a deal with PlayStation. They were struggling to find talent, to finance the game, to finish the game. And so when PlayStation came to them and said, hey, how interested would you be in us helping you finish the financing, and we can put you out when you're ready, when the game ships, I think it will come out in... They thought the game was going to come out in 2021 January. So what they were expecting was a month where... Here's what they were expecting. We're going to get saved by Sony's money. We can finish the game, pay the team, whatever. The game ships. It's January 2021. We know there's not going to be that many PlayStation 5s in the channel. No one's going to be... it's not like it's going to hurt us. We'll have the first month free, which will probably only be, 40, 50, 60, maybe 100,000 free games given out. It'll still help promote it. It'll help us finish it. And then once it goes on sale, we'll actually start selling more because word of mouth and or more PlayStations get purchased. Well, what ended up happening, of course, it's impossible to find PlayStations at first, but everyone who found them were desperate for games. And the game also slipped. So the game didn't come out until April 2021. So a lot of the launch software was already long in the tooth. So suddenly, 4 million people plus downloaded this on PlayStation Plus the day and date release. And Lanning is basically saying, it kind of fucked us because, yeah, Oddworld we think is great, Soulstorm is great, but there's only so many people that love this kind of game, and we lost a huge number of sales that we thought were going to come after because so many people, because of COVID, were staying in and playing games and we're just going through them fast, so looking for new stuff constantly, and because there were more PlayStations than they had anticipated because they ended up slipping their date. Okay. So that is his criticism. It's not even a criticism of PS Plus. He's just saying the way the cards landed really fucked with us. And it's not, I've seen people online try to use this as some cautionary tale about, see, you don't want to launch day and date. It's like, no, that's bullshit. Look what happened to... When the game is right, look what happened to Rocket League. Rocket League was day and date, PS Plus, a month later or whatever, it was $20. Went on to be one of the biggest phenomenons ever in video gaming, and now it's gone to free to play. Just numerous bites of the goddamn apple. Hang on a second. Hang on. So that's great. That's fantastic. But in the case of Oddworld, though, it's like, yeah. But in all the things Lorne is saying are correct. If I was Lorne Lanning and Sony came to me with a rescue for my game because we were running out of money, even if I knew it would have hurt the sales like it did, I would go, fuck it. I want to ship this fucking thing. At least we can live to fight another day. And hopefully make gamers happy and keep the brand going. The one thing, though, I have to say, though, that is not on display here. Hang on. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. Was the fact that I don't think it was a great game. I know it looked great. There's one or two things could have happened with Soulstorm. The reviews of Soulstorm have it sitting at a 66. The user score has it sitting at a 6.4. So it doesn't seem like the critics loved it or the critics hated it, but they got it wrong because the users loved it. I played it for about 20, 30 minutes and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I wanted to play more because I know designers that worked on it. But what's interesting is it does speak to a couple of things. For all I know, Soulstorm gets brilliant 2 hours in. But it's, again, one of those things that it's like if you're, quote, free on a subservice and you don't blow the doors off in some way at the beginning, don't be surprised when people walk away. But I also think, so I'll give you a great example. If you look up Drawn to Death is sitting at a 56 on Metacritic, right? They hated it. Drawn to Death, 56. My biggest failure. It's only a little bit better from users, right? So not very loved, not very well received. Okay. Fact of the matter is, we made a mistake putting this on PlayStation Plus as well. And it wasn't, I don't have any resentment. I thought it was brilliant. Nick thought it was a brilliant decision. Scott Rohde, Christian Fields, all of these guys who were in charge over there were like, this is going to give us a month of free advertising that we wouldn't otherwise get. You're going to get all these people playing it. And we went in and added extra time, spent more money because it was originally free to play. Looking back, it should have stayed free to play, but I should have fought for that, but I didn't even think to fight for that, right? The point though is after the game left PS Plus, it was already dying when it was free. Once it left PS Plus, you couldn't give it away. Vultures wouldn't eat the carcass of it, right? It was just dead on arrival. So the fact of the matter is yeah, the fantasy was you'll get paid a boatload of money, not a boatload. We got paid half the budget. We didn't because we hadn't made profit yet. It went to Sony, of course, internally, but they paid us money to be on PS Plus, half the budget of the game. And then we figured we'll generate all this goodwill in the first month. And then after that, it was going to go to $20. And like, okay. But the fact is that 56 is what kept it from going higher. If Oddworld Soulstorm, if this was an 80 or a 90, and yeah, you probably lost a bunch of sales in the first month, people would still be buying this today. They would still be talking about it, playing it. A sequel would have been financed. So I'm just saying, and I don't think Lauren is saying either or. He's the story that was covered is the story to suggest that a big reason the game failed was because it went on PlayStation Plus. And I'm just here to say, and I think a lot of people I've seen on the net are here to say, sure, that contributed, but it also, like my game, like Drawn to Death, it didn't have as many fans as it needed to succeed, regardless of the business model. So I just want to bring that up, get your thoughts, talk about it a little bit. I'll tell you the other thing a little bit earlier, a couple days earlier, but it's kind of in tandem with this. Guardians of the Galaxy. That is one. Now, that's not a day and date, so let's be clear on that. But Guardians of the Galaxy is a relatively new game coming to Game Pass. And it did not find an audience. Once again, Square Enix shitting the bed. It performed under expectations. Maybe you should look into that, Square. It's not the game. The game was great. The game got great reviews, won a bunch of awards, one of the best games of that year. Phenomenal game. Okay? People didn't buy it. I don't know why. But what's great, though, is the developers are saying it is now reaching an audience on Game Pass. And maybe I'm sure it'll eventually come to PS Plus as well. The title has attracted many more players. This is an article from Video Games Chronicle. After joining Game Pass Xbox in March, this is the narrative director, Mary DeMarle. For me, she says it's all about creating the game. What I love right now is that people, especially with Game Pass, are playing it and they're sharing the experience. And that's all you can really hope for. That's when a service-based, subscription service-based system really shows its value. I saw this is going way back. Some of you may not even remember the movie Austin Powers, but the movie Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, came out, and it was like it made $30 million at the box office. We saw it, but most people didn't. Then it came out on DVD. It was huge because it was easier to get, cheaper to get. People were willing to take a chance on it. And then the second and third movie were massive instantly, right? This is a great thing for all games, but certainly for games that might not have the visibility. The fact that this game is now getting discovered and loved by so many people because it was easier to find, easier to access, bodes very well, maybe even for a sequel, but certainly for just the people who made it. It's wonderful more people get to experience it. So I'm not on this side of these things will fuck your game. I think this is a great, happy fucking story. Listen to this, though. I got to ask you a question. Hang on a second. Fuck out of my cheek. Let me go to the chat for a few minutes, see what you guys are going on about in there. Then I'm going to talk about this trash talk story, which is kind of crazy. Christopher Gorley says he saw Austin Powers on VHS rental. Look here, listen here, listen here. Oh, fuck you, Thomas Isaacs, you troll loser. Random Moose Brain says I should play it. Which game? The Oddworld, or which I have played a little bit of, or Guardians, which I've played a lot of. That's a good point, though, Stonerface. Stonerface says live service games are keeping too many gamers hooked. They don't try to play anything different and new. Eddie C says, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the true AAA games I've played in the last few years. Top to bottom quality game. Totally agree. Really surprising fucking game. The fact that it had so much heart and so many playable story sections, that came out of nowhere. I loved that. The Pair says Blackthorn was great. You goddamn right it was. Blackthorn, if you don't know, was a game by Silicon and Synapse that would very quickly soon after go on to become Blizzard. It was a side-scrolling kind of flashback, violent 90s badass character game. It was wonderful. Nomad Soul says Oddworld was a game for its time. It's done now. I agree. In this article or podcast, Lauren was talking about, you know, making it into a movie or a TV show. I don't think the IP is done. And ultimately, maybe games are not done. But those kinds of games with this IP, certainly at that budget, are absolutely done. But do I think, just like Twisted Metal, I think Twisted Metal as a franchise, as a brand, has a lot of gas in the tank left, a lot of fuel left in the tank.
Good news, everyone.
But I don't think it's as a straight up card combat game. Same with Oddworld. RPG says there's no question being on the service will make some people discover a game they wouldn't have otherwise. Is it worth it overall? I don't know. For the platform, yes. Maybe not for all devs. Well, yeah. I mean, everything is there's going to be pros and cons to everything, and not everything is going to fit the formula. But more people are watching more, if you just look at movies, are exposing themselves to more unique cinema these days, whether it's trash in a good way, like the Necrophiles that we watched the other night, or whether it is, you know, Oscar winners like Coda or Belfast, which most people would never leave the house to go see. So I think overall, for the art form of games and movies and music, it's a good thing. Doge says, yeah, the game was not very good, LOL. And I don't know if you're talking about Drawn to Death or Oddworld, but he worked on both of them. Jaffe says, Ryan P., the Oddworld devs are silly. You don't need a PS5 to redeem Plus titles. It's a good point. You're saying you could have, if you have PS Plus, you could get it and then eventually play it when you get your PS5. That's true too. And maybe they weren't even saying that, because there were people that downloaded it and never fired it up. So, but ultimately though, they weren't going to fire. They either had to buy the PS4 version or they got the PS5 version and they didn't have a PS5, so they were waiting. If that's the case, it still tracks the same for Oddworld, which is ultimately we're still not selling any copies to those people. Man, I hang on, I'm so sorry. I just bit my cheek. It's the worst. Somebody needs to invent like an instant cure for that. Was the Oddworld series ever a big hit? The first one was, for its time. It was a PS1 game. And then it got subsequently less, crazy. Successful. Reactor says the Guardians GamePass is just hype PR. Where's the numbers? Of course they'll say positive things to hype it. Why? Why would they say positive? I mean, the developers of the game... Buddy, you see conspiracy everywhere if that's what you think. Guardians of the Galaxy, my guess, let's find out. My guess is it's an 82. Guardians of the Galaxy on Metacritic. Not that that means anything, but it's an 80. It's an 80 on Metacritic right now, okay? Obviously, 8.7 user score. It's a great game. You've heard it. Won a lot of awards. Not a bad thing. Great game. I think the higher probability reactor or rector is that a game that was beloved by so many people who did play it, not many people did, when it did become available easier, of course people are going to laud it and talk about it and be excited about it. I think that's a lot more likely than like, you know what, let's just pick this game and lie about it. That doesn't make any sense. Ryan says, Jeffy, what kind of games do you think will come to PS Plus? I talked about this yesterday, man. I don't know anymore because at first, but as a guy who not owns, but subscribes to PS Now and has for almost since the beginning, on and off, that thing has over 800 titles right now. So when they said PS Plus or PlayStation, what do they call it? Premium is the highest tier or whatever the highest tier is, will have collectively 750 games. I was just kind of going, oh, well, I guess those games will be kind of like what they already have on PS Now. Most of them are like, it's okay. They're all old, and not all, but most of them are old, blah, blah, blah. But then when I heard Sacred Symbols the other day, those guys were talking about it as if they really were waiting on the data drop before they passed judgment on that news that Sony had put out a few weeks ago about what PS Spartacus was. Because they were saying, depending on what games come to it, it could be amazing or it could not be. And so those guys seem to think, the way they're talking about it, that the game selection on PS Plus is going to be refreshed, and it's going to have more of a curated, intentional reason to be. I was coming at it going, it's just PS Now, because they already have that. So I can't give you an answer to that. I have no fucking clue what Sony's philosophy is. You'd think at least they could have said that. It's like, you're going to get 350 games if you go to the medium tier. You're going to jump up to other games that are also PS3 and PS1 and 2 classics if you go to this tier. But since those are already on PS Now, I would have loved for them to say, those titles are separate or different than what you can already get today. So I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, Doge says Oddworld wasn't very good. Yeah, and you worked on it, but that sucks though. It always sucks. I know Lauren's passionate, but yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, that's the risk you always take. Somebody was saying, I just lost it, but somebody was saying that's the risk you take. You're assuming it would have sold well. That's Mike Leon. It could have flopped. I downloaded it, never played it. Right. I mean, that's, you always hope for the best, but honestly, I think they took the money because, as Lauren said, there's no reason not to believe them. They needed saving financially. Thomas Isaac says, Jeffy, I have a question. Please, that's not a question. Please play Horizon Forbidden West. It's a great game. I have played Horizon Forbidden West. I will be going back to it and giving it more of a chance. The first 2 hours I didn't like because it was really boring. And I found Aloy, I don't like her as a character at all. But that said, I thought it was, once it got into the open world, I thought it was beautiful. It controlled amazing. The combat was phenomenal. I don't think it's a bad game at all. But I've been busy with Elden Ring and some other things. But I absolutely will go back and I absolutely will give it a play. Hey, there's Padua again. Thanks, buddy. Jesus, man. He says, it's like the Psygnosis games, G-Police, Colony Wars, even Wipeout. They were awesome, but that's just not what the average gamer wants anymore. That's not what the average AAA player wants anymore. That's absolutely right. People, the mainstream audience or the mainstream companies made their gambles on production value. And not simple gameplay, but, very mainstream gameplay. And the audience responded. The audience absolutely responded to that. The idea that things that are a little quirkier or a little more unique, that require a little more imagination, that really has become the home of indie games. I don't know if I'm sure we've talked about this before. Back when I started on PS1 games, we at Santa Monica and Sony, a lot of us talked about the 80-20 rule, which is pick a game, greenlight a game that has 80% familiar stuff, and that 20% can be crazy. So if you look back at something like Time Splitters, or if you look back at something like Psyops or Twisted Metal, or, it's like set it in the real world or set it with a lot of things we understand, and then put time travel in or put psychic powers in or whatever. The audience seemed to be open to that. They were more of a comic book kind of audience. And then as the fidelity got better and better and the games got more and more expensive, that 80-20 rule shrunk to 90-10. Today, I think that's more like, it's almost like 98% familiar, not in terms of play mechanics, but conceptual pieces, which is why something that comes out that's really clever and cool, but is thematically unique, I think if you don't go indie first or you don't just get lucky, you shouldn't greenlight it, man. You shouldn't greenlight that shit at all. Hang on a second. Where did the Brian East, Jaffe, do you think they'll get more into the details of what you can get in terms of optimizations? Oh, you're talking frame rate boost and FSR is what? Something rendering. So I think they will get into the details, yes, but I don't think you're going to see those details be equatable to what Microsoft did. I just don't think they have the interest or the staff in going, let's go back and figure out a way to make Siphon Filter 3 look really fucking good. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so. Captain Ply says YouTubers killed GG. Is that Gamergate? What is that? Because the actor did not look like the movie months before it came out. What's GG? I don't know what that is, man. Tiger Boy, thank you, buddy. It's very insanely generous super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, Jaffe, I'd like to say that your work on Twisted and God of War has been a big inspiration for me to create my own games. So thank you for that. You're welcome on behalf of all of us who made those games. It was not just me. There's a lot of us, and I couldn't have done it without a lot of those people. But on behalf of us all, thank you for playing our games, and thanks for the nice words. Oddworld can make a comeback, but it needs to expand itself first, says Tiger Boy. Again, thank you for the super chat. It's very generous, man. Yeah, I think Oddworld is rich with potential as a franchise. I don't necessarily think it's rich with potential as a franchise, as a video game, or at least as a video game aimed at gamers that want to solve puzzles and have platforming elements and all that. I think if you want to make an Oddworld game that connects these days, you probably want to put something out that really is more like something on Steam, you know, not the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's, but something that's just more almost like Undertale or kind of subversive and indie, and people can discover it. It doesn't cost that much, and people discover the world. I think trying to make Oddworld connect with core gamers and people who would buy a PS5, I think that's the mistake, at least right now in the PS5's lifestyle. It's too indie at this point. Yeah, I'm talking to Colin. I'm going back on Colin's show. And I have. When did you? Are you listening to an old show? I emailed Colin, and then I emailed his girlfriend. We've been talking the last couple of like the last week. But thank you, Tiger Boy. I appreciate that, man. You know who's kind of hot in comic books is Tigra. You ever look at Tigra? I'm not a furry. I got nothing against furries, but there's some. Let's look up Tigra. Then we're gonna get back to the news. Tigra, Marvel. I wonder if they're ever gonna make Tigra come to the MCU or something. Check her out. Check her out. There's Tigra. Wait, here he is. Look at that. I mean, come on now. Come on now. I don't know what it would be like to be with like a cat lady. Because like, is she all furry and you get like hairballs and I don't know. But come on now. Come on now. I mean, seriously. Damn. I always like cat women from SWAT Cats who wore glasses. I don't know what that is. Let me look it up. And then we're going to get back to the news, I promise. SWAT Cats. I don't see anybody wearing glasses. Oh well. I don't know what SWAT Cats is. Sorry. They look like dudes, which I'm not into, and which is great if you are, but none of them are wearing glasses. Oh, this girl. There she is. Yeah, she's kind of cute. Cats. That's her name. Cats. All right. Ryan Webb. Thank you, sir. I got a suspicious block on my thing. Felicia's the only Catwoman for me. Oh, from the fighting game. Thank you, Rice Web. I appreciate that. Has been a member of the Diet Soda Soldiers for 7 good goddamn months. Buddy, thank you so much for that support. Good sir, Rice Web. Means a lot, man. Thank you. Okay. Let's move a little down the road. This guy, I only bring it up because I want to get some feedback. I want to get some feedback on this. I don't know how I feel about this. This is a YouTuber, very popular YouTuber, has about 7 million followers. I Show Speed. Okay, I guess his shtick, other than maybe he's a great gamer, I don't know. I've never heard of him until this story came out. Is that he kind of goes off and makes fun of people and is a trash talker and kind of loses his shit, and it's funny, I guess. It's not YouTuber drama, Kaiden, so much as it is a question of where's there a line, right, in sort of online trash talking. I love to do it, but I would never be mean about it, right? This is a guy who was banned from Twitch the end of last year, and he was banned for really, I think it was like really bad sexual, very harassing behavior. Toby the Orky says he's just a kid like 17. No, I understand. And then he was banned the other day from all Riot games. This was because of Valorant. Let me play you a little bit of the clip of this guy and what it was he said. Jake Lucky, who is an esports commentator, found this clip of him. And Jake Lucky says, I understand now why Valorant queues are so unbelievably toxic. You've got one of the most popular streamers on YouTube, I Show Speed, saying crap like this and getting nothing but praise and laughs. Crap is whack, he says. Okay, let me make this big and let me let you hear this thing.
And where she is? She's on top of the thing.
10 seconds
Oh, there's
left.
the roster. 10 seconds.
Now, apparently he's playing with a woman. It doesn't matter, but he's speaking to whoever he's speaking to as a, assuming that she's a woman. But I honestly don't know who he's playing with. And I'm going to scrub through this because it's a minute and a half long. I don't want to play the whole thing.
Man, you gotta hit those shots, man.
Man, shut your stupid ass up, nigga. Who's you talking to, bro? Shut your nerd ass up, bro. I know how to play this game. Shut up, monkey. Shut up. Shut your bitch ass up. All right.
You're at the bar.
All right.
Calm down.
Damn, bro. Shut up, bro. I know how to play this game. I'm not a noob, all right? God
Obviously,
damn.
you don't know how to play the fucking game. You
What?
suck ass.
What, bitch? Bitch? Is a bitch talking to me? Is a female talking to me? Am I no? Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Oh, wait, time out. Is a female talking to me right now? Is a fucking female talking to me? Get off the fucking game and do your husband dishes, bitch. Shut up. Fuck you. Fuck is wrong with y'all? Stop talking to me like that, nigga. Fuck is wrong with y'all, dog?
So, I mean, well, okay. So, it's not the question of, you know, is it okay they banned him? Of course. They could ban him literally for streaming their game wearing a blue shirt instead of a white shirt. It's a private company. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Okay? And so that's not, who cares? Disneyland won't let you go into Disneyland and trash talk either. I mean, can you imagine going into Disneyland where they have the Buzz Lightyear ride where you go through and you have the shooting at the video screens and people are fucking trash talking like this? I mean, they'd say, I'm sorry, you have to leave. And that it would be their right and nobody would have a problem with it. It's like, it's private fucking park, man. They can do whatever they want. The issue has more to do with, though, this guy's gotten some defense. And I'm like, you know, let's forget the fact that it's a private company. Let's just assume we're talking about whether this crossed a line morally, karmically, is it acceptable or not, right? So you've got one of the biggest, I don't even know, I know this guy because of my kids. Keemstar apparently is a big deal. And apparently he's big on trash talk. Well, this is what he comes out and says. Listen to this.
What is going on, people? What is happening to the world we live in? All right? You know, you got this esport reporter calling out Speed for trash talk in a game. First of all, he's a minor. He's a child, all right? And the things being said and back and forth aren't real. They're not real statements. It's trash talk in a video game. If Speed was there in real life and this other person was there in real life, they would not say any of this stuff back and forth because it's not real. It's in a fantasy video game. The things being said are not real. You know what else isn't real? The gun. The gun isn't a real gun in the video game. When you jump super high, that is not real. It's a fantasy world. It is not real life. Trash talk in video games are not real statements. They're not real. It is trash talk. You following me?
So, you know, and a lot of people have... Well, yeah, Brian East, that's not the point, though. Brian East says, doesn't matter whether it's real or not, it breaks terms of service. Again, no one is, as far as I know, there's no value in the debate of should he have been banned if the company wanted to. Of course, yeah, but for that exact reason that you're bringing up. The issue has more to do with, in my opinion, the fact that there are a lot of gamers, some of them in this very chat, who are saying it's not a big deal. It's just trash talk. It doesn't mean anything. Certainly it doesn't mean anything in terms of like, I don't think the woman who talked to the guy is going to now go out and do dishes because he told her to, but it does promote a very toxic, cruel community. PTT says, what happens to the sticks and stones quote we heard as kids? I mean, again, I'm not opposed to trash talk. I think, you know, I understand your point. I understand your point. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't like it. I found it offensive. I wouldn't want to be playing a game with that kid, or if I was, I'd put him on mute in a heartbeat. And I'll also tell you, as a guy, you know, it sounds terrible, but unless you're in a private game with people you know or want to be in, I like the way Hearthstone handles it. I like the way Mario Kart 8 handles it in the lobby, where it's like, look, I think they should be a little bit more verbose, but we've got these things that you can say. They'll let you communicate enough, but this is not a place for you to come and have a fucking chat roulette conversation with somebody. These are decisions made for what's going to make the game best for everyone, right? I'm down with that, unless you're playing in a private server and it's like, say whatever the fuck you want. Nuke Russia says, I honestly miss being able to verbally abuse somebody's team, kill them, and then teabag them and kick them out of my server. I played Destruction All-Stars, and I was trash talking the shit out of this one guy. But I was not being racist or misogynistic or, toxic. It was clear I was just being a jokey dick. Jarvie Rock says sexist and racist statements are still sexist and racist. I don't understand why we're saying it's just trash talk. That's a dumb response. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the difference if you do go in the real world, and I go up, let's say I go up to a dude who's a black dude, and I say, we're playing Mortal Kombat at the 7-Eleven. They, for some magical reason, still have a 7-Eleven. The 7-Eleven still has a Mortal Kombat 2 machine. And we're trash talking each other. And he's like, you're so shitty at this. I don't know. You're so shitty at this game that you live in a diaper, a baby's diaper. And I say to him, the only thing worse than having to play this game with you is fucking your mother's big flappy vagina. I would say, okay, I mean, that to some people would be too far, but I would say that's funny. It's stupid. I don't know his mother. But if I start dropping the N-word on this guy, or that guy starts making fun of LGBT people in my family, well, then that's different. And I think that's what this guy does. Bacon Magnus says, Jaffe, didn't you live stream yourself trash talking or harassing a kid who's 11 on Mortal Kombat? Kid. Well, no. So he started trash talking me, and then I started trash talking him back. And by the end of it, we weren't friends, But I was like, hey man, do you play with your parents or do you have a family? You know, how are you know, I wasn't trash talking him to break a little kid's spirit. It was more like, dude, you know what you're doing? It's really shitty what you're doing. Dylan says, I found this guy's rant cringy, but I would have muted him before hearing half of that because of how annoying his voice was. Well, that's fucking true. Hang on one sec, fellas. Groomer Jaffe. I was being nice to the kid. Eternal says it's a way to vent frustrations, joke around, maybe even throw others off their game. Again, trash talk is fine. But seems like there should be a line for people if they're going to be good people. The real question is, just because he is black, he got a pass? He got banned. He's kicked off of Twitch. He's kicked off of every fucking Riot game ever made. Thank you, Rob the Mod. You know, right now YouTube hasn't banned the guy, but you know, a lot of people have. I don't have to agree with what they say, says Eternal, but I'm not for the alternative of policing every word a person says. I'm not for that either, but I do think a private company has a right. I mean, you're not debating with me whether Riot should have a right to have a terms of service that says this is the kind of community we want our games to reflect. And if you're in here being toxic, there's no place for you. I mean, I imagine you support a private company being able to lay down the law with their own rules, right? Yeah, Brian East, it's not the first guy. Brian East says, hearing that guy talk, I'm thinking it's not the first time. No, he got banned from Twitch for doing this. Speed Twitch banned. It was real. I haven't watched it, but he's banned from Twitch after a sexist outburst on Aiden Ross's stream. Let's see what he said. Oh, right. He told this woman, he said, I think she was like a model. He said, I show Speed, whose real name is believed to be Darren Watkins, according to community database, is known for making music videos, playing Fortnite, and live streaming NBA 2K21, where he has over 3 million. This is back in the day. On Tuesday, the creator tweeted a screenshot of a purported email from Twitch saying he was banned due to sexual coercion or intimidation. And apparently what he said was he was yelling at Ash Kosh, an Instagram influencer and OnlyFans model. I don't know what she looks like, but I'm assuming she's like a lady. The incident occurred on a recent segment of a Twitch show. The streamer, iSpeed, asked Cash if she would reproduce with him if they were the last two people on Earth. She said no. And then he said, if we're the last two people on Earth, who's going to stop me? You're not stopping me, he replied. So he's basically saying, I'll fucking rape you if I want to. So, no, it's not the first time. It's not the first time. Okay. Can you tell us your spat with Stephen Totillo was about? Yeah, if you Google my name and Stephen Totillo, you will find a hang on a sec. If you Google me and Totillo, you will find an audio recording by Ben Kachura. A lot of people attributed me yelling at Ben, and I wasn't. I always liked Ben Kachura, good guy, and a lot of people don't like him for some reason, but he's always been good to me. He seems like a good writer. But he was interviewing me for Twisted Metal 2012 launch, and Totillo came up to me. Or I don't remember how we engaged or interfaced, but Totillo's Kotaku, who he was editor-in-chief of, had run a story on me because I had said some really crass sexist stuff about, I was basically like, if you let your girlfriend win playing Twisted Metal, she'll give you a blowjob. It was stupid, and I was just trying to, I don't know, just trying to make, I wasn't consciously trying to make news, but I was just trying to be stupid and have fun. You know, I didn't think about it. And they ran an article saying, like, Jaffe's stuff was misogynistic and sexist and all this. And it was more of an argument with him about the word misogynist. I was like, I ended up talking to the reporter. I said I appreciated that she spoke with me afterwards. You know, I absolutely did make a sexist statement. That was not my intent. You know, I that's how I felt about Twisted Metal, which is mostly, I only thought about it as a game that guys play. But when it was pointed out to me, that's not the case. And even if it was the case, it's kind of a sexist thing. I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. And I apologized. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a sexist guy. I said, but nothing I said was misogynistic. And that's what we were arguing about. I'm like, you can't just throw these accusations, which are very, you know, cruel and harmful depending on who you are in society. You can't throw those around if you aren't using the word accurately. Nothing in what I said was misogynistic. It's, like I said, it's crass, sexist, vulgar. I'll own that. I'll apologize for the sexism, not the crassism and the vulgar. Anyway, there you, that's what happened. That's what happened. I want to show you one more thing before we wrap it up. Do I want to get into this tonight, or do I want to wait till tomorrow? You know what? This is really cool stuff about virtual reality. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till tomorrow's show, because I think I want to have more energy and more fuel in the tank to really sell this to you, because it's some cool shit. Some cool shit. Let me turn on the red phone if anybody wants to call on the phone for a few minutes. But that's all the news I got. I'm more than happy to sit and talk to you for a few minutes if that's what you want to do. The red phone in just a moment will be open. If you don't know what the red phone is, that is a real life phone number that will let you call in on your phone without having to worry about Discord. So if you want to call, call. If you want to chat, we'll chat. Let me bring it up. Okay. Hang on. It's not on yet. Gotta wait for a second. Oh, here's a new voicemail that came through tonight. Let's listen to it.
Hey, Jeffy, got a question for you. With Microsoft buying up all these production houses and cornering the market on video games, what is Sony's solution to that? What are they going to do? They have something up their sleeves. They're going to buy some other companies. What are they going to do? Love to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.
I mean, it's the you know, multi-billion-dollar question, right? I don't know. What I can tell you is there's the thing. I think what they're doing right now is absolutely correct in regards to going. We have to get into service-based games. We have to figure out a way to continue to make the brilliant games we've always made, but we also have to acknowledge and start to build parts of our company around development around the idea that the industry has moved forward. There's a lot more money in games as a service, and it's ludicrous that we don't have any of those that are, other than, like, okay, you could argue Gran Turismo a little bit. You could certainly argue MLB, but not like an actual service-based game that can compete with, Fortnite or maybe Halo Infinite and things like that. So I think that is a smart decision on Sony's part. I think that is one of the ways they're going to compete. I think, a lot of people will disagree with me on this. That's fine. But I absolutely think that GamePass is going to change the industry. Subscription-based services will change the industry just like it changed movies. A lot of people who disagree with me tend to be these people who don't do nuance very well, because they think the way they feel is the way everyone feels. It's not that I don't understand that a lot of people love to collect their games and own their games, and they don't like a company could turn off the switch and you lose your game subscription, all that. I get all that. But historically, most people have gone for good enough, cheaper, more convenient. It's hard to argue against Game Pass, especially if they can get their shit together and the company starts putting out games from these big studios they've acquired. So in regards to that, Sony with PS Plus 2.0, they clearly have the infrastructure being set up. And Jim Ryan said as much. He's like, this is just where we are today. Things in this industry can change and turn on a dime. We don't know what this service will look like down the road, but this is what we're launching with, right? So my guess is what they will do is continue to double down on what they know they do better than anyone else, which is the AAA narrative-based games, which even though I feel the formula is getting old, sales don't suggest that everyone else feels that way. So they still have a couple of releases before the canary in the coal mine, which is me and people like me, start to sort of prove out to be correct, that people are looking for something fresher. But that said, I think they'll double down on that. They'll hope some of these service games take off. And eventually they're going to have to do something, of which I've talked about numerous times. They probably won't be able to drop day and date, but there are some things that they can do to compete with Game Pass, and I think that's what they'll do. Brian says, Jaffe, if you're going to finish Elden Ring, I recommend giving Bridge of Spirits another shot. Some fights in Elden Ring felt harder than Kenna bosses. Yeah. I'll go back to it maybe. I mean, I have so many things to play, man. So many fucking things. Nawdog says he's pretty sure Hellblade 2 is going to be good. I've never played the first one. I need to. I agree with that. Legend says, I feel Sony needs to give other genres the Sony treatment and put their established IP in smaller, cheaper, but fun titles. Yeah, and then those would be day one drops. I don't understand this comment from SDFS. Jaffe doing this red phone thing since he started streaming. Celebs already called in. I don't understand that. Game Pass just allowed me to play Guardians of the Galaxy, says Fremo, and it's one of my favorite games of the generation. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask you a question. Why didn't you play it before? Like, what was it that kept you from playing it before? Hey, Jaffe, says Dark, I don't think I've heard you speak of Twisted Metal Head-On the PSP. What do you think of the game? I liked the game. The one thing I did not like about it, and it is absolutely the one thing I think that really differentiates my design philosophy and Scott Campbell's philosophy, and Kellen Hatch is more Scott's, though. Which is, and I think he errs too much on his side and I err too much on my side, which is probably why when we work together a lot of times things tend to work out better. But the thing I found not great about Twisted Metal Head-On, even though I loved a lot of it, that was great, really, really addictive and fun, but was things homed so much in that it was so many fire and forget weapons that I didn't feel there was enough skill that I think Twisted Metal needs. And so it felt more shallow than I would be satisfied with. But I can push too much the other way, right? So if you look at something like the nuke mode in 2012, some people adored it, but it probably was too, not smart, like I'm super smart, but it probably required too much effort on the part of the player to really get out of it what I wanted them to get out of it, right? And so I think you know, that's my take on Head-On. Are you serious? Rob the Mod says, when I say sex, the HD porn bot spams the chat. Ooh, I want to try that. Sex. Hey, it is. Oh, hang on. Hey, it's Jack.
From Brett Williams.
Hello, Brett Williams. How are you doing?
Oh, it's Papa Jaffe.
You got
Jaffe,
right.
how the hell are you?
Who the fuck did you think was going to answer?
Well, hey, you know, I'm just calling in to say happy birthday again. I know I sent a super chat earlier, but you know, it's always a big day when you're getting a year older.
I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you like how old are you?
I will be 40 in August.
Have you found yours, like, do you like your birthdays, or are you kind of glad when they're over?
Well, that's a bit complicated. I would say, I mean, myself, like probably a lot of people in my generation, were raised by some pretty shitty parents. I was never really given a chance to enjoy my birthday. Mostly it was filled with a lot of guilt, you know,
Jesus.
like, hey, look what all these people did for you. You know, you should, make sure to kiss your aunt and hug your grandma and do all this and this. So my birthday never felt really that great. But as I've gotten older, I prefer more just to celebrate with the people I really care about.
Right.
So the birthdays have actually gotten better over the years.
That's
so
good.
This year we're doing we're going to do a big cookout and, have everybody over. I'm going to get the smoker going and make brisket and all that good stuff. So,
Interesting.
yeah, it's better now than it used to be. Yeah,
that's good. I mean, I like
birthdays
those occasions when people get together. I think it's just, and look, I have a fucking stream. I don't have a problem being the center of attention sometimes, but there's something about when it's your birthday though, where I get a little uncomfortable and stuff. I don't know, but I appreciate it though, and I appreciate the well wishes and all that.
I feel that.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for calling in, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted another quick thought from you.
Okay.
As far as the whole, I mean, we're always arguing about the GamePass model and Netflix of gaming and all this stuff. What's going to work? What's not going to work? I wonder your thoughts on. Okay, so it's Microsoft doing this right now, right?
Okay.
Well, Xbox more specifically.
Okay.
That's doing kind of the Netflix of gaming model.
Yes.
Right? If it weren't Microsoft doing this, right, with the bottomless wallet, essentially just keep on dumping money into it until it becomes profitable, right? Because right now Phil Spencer's saying it's sustainable. He never said profitable, right? And we know it takes a lot of money to make games, and so we're going to have to get to a certain subscription number in order for this thing to actually start making money from Microsoft.
Correct.
If it weren't Microsoft or Xbox doing this, what do you think the chances are that we would ever see a model like this? Right? I mean, it seems like it's highly unlikely that anyone else would go out there on a limb like this.
I don't agree.
Xbox is the only company that would have a reason to do it because they said, okay, we're not crushing it on the first party sales. We're not putting out these, AAA, award-winning titles.
I mean, the
planets
certainly aligned.
It would make sense for them to do it.
The planet certainly aligned where it made sense for Microsoft with the resources they had and the situation they were in to kind of throw a semi Hail Mary pass and see what happened. I agree with the description of how it came to be, but one of the things you hear a lot when Microsoft acquired or wants to acquire Activision, and before that Bethesda, is you had a number of the analysts saying things like they're not even looking anymore to compete with Sony. They're kind of moving into the realm of the Amazons, the Apples. These, not that Microsoft is a small company, it's like one of the top 3 richest in the world, but in terms
as far as gaming specifically,
well, not just gaming,
yeah.
but media and entertainment and stuff. Those companies,
well, and
if you look at Apple,
Phil Spencer said as much,
right?
Yeah.
So if you look at Apple and if you look at Amazon, and there was a few others, Tencent they threw in, Disney is another one. They are such massive companies with so many resources that the kind of things they can do, don't exist in other spaces, right? Like, so Sony could not have done it. So I think my point is that as we are getting into the age of these just behemoth conglomerates that are media companies and entertainment companies, it starts to make more and more sense that someone, especially after looking at the success of Netflix and Spotify, would go, what would it take to try this in games? So I don't think I don't think this is like a one in a lifetime thing that everything had to just be perfect. I think we would have eventually gotten here, but certainly Microsoft's situation accelerated it.
I mean, and you consider, you mentioned Netflix, and then that certainly is a good point. Eventually someone was going to do it. But I mean, didn't Netflix run basically in the red for damn near a decade?
They may
before
have,
they
but-
had enough subscribers before it started making money. And TV shows cost less to make than games do. So I'm wondering where the threshold is here.
That's not necessarily true. If you're talking about a single episode, yeah. But if you want to greenlight 4 seasons of Stranger Things, then I think not necessarily. I think HBO said the pilot for Last of Us, and I know what that number is, but I can't remember if I'm allowed to share it or not. But it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, it's the most expensive show ever made at this point.
So
yeah.
I guess the point is the idea that, you know, I will keep returning to this. Now, I may be wrong. For all I know, you have a fucking business degree from Harvard, but I certainly don't. But what I can tell you...
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. But what I can tell you about this is I tend to be more of a believer when you not only have Netflix being able to survive long enough to get where they are. Clearly, they had people believing in their product and thought this could work. Disney goes all in. Warner Brothers, HBO goes all in. Everybody in that world is going all in. So it's not...
Yeah, sure. The numbers don't lie.
Right.
Yeah.
So the numbers don't lie, and nor do the actions of people doing things based on the assumption that there's gold that they can, pull from the river. These companies clearly, at least one of them, if this was a bad idea, you'd have to think that even if all the people who work there are stupider than you and me, which I don't think is the case, one smart person would have slipped in and said, this isn't sustainable or profitable, right? But they haven't done that. So I'm more inclined to believe that
we do have one smarter person in the room who disagrees with you.
Who?
And that's Jim Ryan. He does not believe.
Well, no, Jim
that
Ryan.
The future is the subscription model.
I don't agree with you.
Right?
I think Jim Ryan saying the future is not.
Didn't he say it was
but that's
games
PR.
as a service? He thinks is the future model.
Okay, I understand, but that's PR in my opinion, right? He can have that belief.
Very well could be.
He can have that belief if he wants to, but that would be like going to McDonald's and saying, why don't you serve pizza? And it's like, well, we don't think pizza is what the people want. We think what they really want is the Big Mac.
Well,
right?
they serve pizza in 2 places still.
Okay, but that's not my point. That's not my point. So all I'm saying is, again, I'm not saying Jim Ryan's wrong, and I'm not saying he is saying PR. He may genuinely believe it. But just because Jim Ryan says it, what he is saying is, let's take him at face value. What he is saying is we cannot make the level of games that we make that people currently love for the cost we would need to make it for day and date subscription service to work. And I think let's take that at face value.
I agree with that 100%.
Okay,
yeah.
but I think you have to I think you have to understand though is he's making the assumption that that's all the audience wants. And what I keep saying is, am I going to go to the theater and see a better blockbuster than Red Notice when I go see a Marvel movie in the theater? Yeah, probably. But
sure,
I don't have to go to the theater. I don't have to pay a lot of money for it, and that's good enough for me. And also I get all these other things that would never be in the theater that now I get because they're funding them because Netflix needs content. So I'm not saying Jim Ryan's saying the Sony games can't be that, but I'm saying that I think more and more people are going to go, especially this younger generation that's satisfied with Roblox and Among Us and Minecraft. They're going to come up and just
that's not my game, but I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not going to care as much about the visual fidelity and all that stuff. There'll be a group that always does, and that's great. But yeah. So that's my take. All right, man. I appreciate the call. Call back anytime, buddy.
One last thing. Wait, I'm going to throw one thing at you, and then I'm going to hang up and let you talk about it.
All right.
Just a quick thought. I wonder if there has been a conversation behind closed doors between Xbox and PlayStation leadership about gobbling up as many companies as possible to stop the Apples and the Facebooks and blah, blah, blah of the world from stepping into the gaming space where I don't think PlayStation and Xbox think that those companies belong. I think they feel like, no, this is our space, and we're not going to let someone come in and bastardize it and put it all over social media.
Gotcha.
We're going to clamp this down, and we're going to hold on to the big companies.
All right, man.
Thank
you.
Later, Jeffy. Thanks for talking.
Of course, man. Yeah, I would just say as a response to that, our very own Ricardo Estevez has said, that he thinks, and I think he's right, that ultimately the conversation that will eventually, if it hasn't already happened between Sony and Microsoft, is, hey, we'll get out of this console space if we can put Game Pass on your box. That's what I think is probably going to happen. And I didn't believe it at first, but the more Ricardo kind of pitched it to me, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Because I don't think Xbox cares. I don't think they even care about being in the hardware business. It's like, yeah, let's keep going. Let's make the software. We'll put it on Nintendo, put it everywhere. That'd be great. Because eventually it's all going to be streaming to TVs anyway.
All from
David Jaffe.
Oh, yeah, it's me calling myself. It's the Matrix. What's up, man?
Hey, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Twisted Metal Black, obviously you got the Rolling Stones song, and that was back in the time when music rights were kind of difficult to get.
The Rolling Stones song?
I was wondering if there's any interesting story. Yeah, if there's any interesting story behind that. Or
No,
if,
not really. I mean,
I
I knew Paint It Black because there was a documentary on roller coasters that me and my brother watched. We had on VHS that we taped from like Nickelodeon back in the 80s, and I adored it. I watched it over and over and over and over. And at the end, it was really creepy. There was this big, he kind of looked like the dude in Full Metal Jacket, as a Joker, the big fat guy, bald head, who kind of shoots himself in the mouth, that guy. But so he was very creepy, wearing overalls, and he was just kind of wandering around underneath this old wooden roller coaster while they played Paint It Black. And that was how the credits rolled. I don't know how they got the rights to that, given it was some rinky-dink Nickelodeon documentary, but there you go. And it's the first time I ever heard it, and it always stuck with me as a creepy song because of that. And so when it came time to go, hey, let's work on the final credits, I went to my boss, and I was like, oh, can we get Paint It Black? And so he was like, oh, that'd be great. And he looked into it. And yeah, I think we paid, I could be wrong on this, but it was something like $100,000 up front. And then the Rolling Stones got, for every sale, I think they got $1 or something, or maybe it wasn't much more than $1, but it was like $1, maybe $2. And that was the deal. And they were like, okay, sure. I don't know how it works now because it's digital and everything. Did they build that into the contract, or who the fuck knows? But yeah, no, that's the story. There was not really much more than that. But every time somebody bought a Twisted Metal Black copy, Keith Richards and what's his name, Mick Jagger, and the rest of the boys got some ducats.
So I fueled their drug habits. Good to know.
Goddamn right.
Okay.
Goddamn right. Thanks, man.
That's my question.
All right, thanks. All right, fellas, there you go. That's Gabbin and Games. Hang on, what is this one right here? This oh, here we go. Let me see. Let me play this real quick for you. Here we go.
Jaffe, man, I wanted to wish you a happy birthday, dude.
Is that Rob?
Live. Happy birthday, pal.
That's Rob the Mod.
Hope you had a good one, then.
Oh, fucking put yourself in the call-in show. Isn't that Rob? Who is that? Or is that I don't know. You sound alike. It's what happens when you suck each other's dicks and swallow the semen. Anyway, the point is, I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you so much for hanging out with the Gabbin and the Games today. I appreciate it, buddies. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully around 2, doing a Shoot the Shit stream, or maybe a game stream. I don't know. I'm streaming tomorrow, and then I'll be back with a proper show on Friday, Gabbin and Games, around the normal time. In the meantime, be well. Thank you guys for all of the memberships, all the insanely generous super chats, the great conversation, and just hanging out with me for my birthday. Thank you guys. Thank you, RPG. Thank you, Morgan, for saying that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Wolfblood. I'm out. Be well, everybody.
Stupid idiot!
Oh my God, that's uncouth, fellas. That is uncouth. I'm not sure Legends. Depends how long our little birthday thing goes. So, hey, Toothless Gaming has been a member for 3 months. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Brian King. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Angry Tom. All right, I'm out, fellas. See you soon. Bye, everyone.